So I'm going to be out in the sun for a little bit, so I have my SPF 50 shirt on, sunscreen, and my visor, so hopefully I'm going to be able to stand it out here. I tried being in the shade, but it keeps moving around anyway, and then the picture is a little bit dark for you guys to see. So I have my yoga mat, my strap, my block, and a lot of water. So if you're outside, make sure that you have that as well today. And let's start with our practice in a seated position. Simple cross-leg pose as we welcome the sun and a little bit of heat and the breath. And just really lengthen the spine as you sit tall. And breathing in and out through the belly, just draw that breath in deep into the lower belly. Let it expand. And exhale, feel the belly drawing in towards the backbone. We'll take 2 nice big inhales. And complete exhales. And one more breath. Breathe it in. And breathe it out. So we'll begin to move our spine through lateral flexion. Take a nice big inhale up. And then side stretch over to one side on that exhalation. Feel your sitting bone pressed into the mat. Breathe it in. And exhale to the other side. Now with all the LisaBug classes, make sure that you're moving at your own pace. Taking modifications that feel best for your body day. Taking breaks when you need. And just really enjoying this beautiful day and beautiful movement of the body. We'll take one more to the other side. And then we'll add a slight rotation. So inhale up. Exhale, side bend, and reach across to the diagonal. And breathe in. Side bend and rotate across. And we'll just work out any stiffness in the spine, and especially through that mid-back region, in what we call the thoracic region of the spine. And one more each side. And then back to center. We'll stay tall and rotate all the way across to the right. Look over that shoulder. Breathe in, arms raise. And rotate all the way over to the other side, nice and tall through the spine. 2 more each direction. Feel a nice gentle stretch through the neck. And 1 more each side. Coming back to center, reach up, extend through the spine. And then as you exhale, pull your elbows back into a nice chest expansion. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull the elbows back, squeezing through those shoulder blades. Really open up the chest muscles, the deltoids. And 1 more. Breathe in. And pull back. Hey, Melissa Borman, come on in. And hold that nice stretch. We have 1 more member, yoga by the pool. Find a nice shady spot. And now we'll close the palms and the elbows round the back. Look down towards the belly. Inhale, open back out. Exhale, round. 2 more. Feel that stretch all along the spine, through the shoulder blades, through the back of the neck. Then inhale, open out, hold. Exhale, let the hands just find the top of the knees, and we'll just start to circle the spine from the right to the front, to the left, and around. One of my favorite stretches for the lower back, and gentle opening for the hips as well. Two more moving this direction. And then when the timing feels right, pause, reset, and moving the other way, left through the center, right, and around. Exhaling as the body comes forward. Inhaling to rise 3 more times around this direction. If you're feeling any pain in your lower back, just be really gentle with this range of motion. Maybe take it a little bit slower. And last time. And we'll come back to center. And then adjust our position to hands and knees, coming onto all fours for cat and cow. So spread the fingers, but slightly keep the thumbs tucked in just a little bit. Press into the pads of the fingertips to create a little suction cup in the hands. That's your Hasta Bandha. As you inhale, drop the belly, gaze forward, and try to pull the hands towards the knees to create a nice tension there. And then exhaling, arch the back up and push the hands away from the knees. And breathe in to cow, lifting the tailbone. And breathe out to cat. 2 more times. And really feel that movement in your pelvis, tipping forward and tucking under. 1 more. Breathe in to cow. Breathe out to cat. And then come right to a neutral spine. So we have a little small sway in the back, not too much. Abdominals really engaged. And we'll come into spinal balance. Right leg goes back, left arm reaches forward. And check to make sure your pelvis is neutral. Sometimes that right hip wants to rise. So press it down. Find that neutral pelvis. 1 more breath. Then reset back to neutral. Extend the left leg back, right arm reaches. Level off the pelvis. And the thumb is up on that extended hand, as if you're going to shake someone's hand. So your shoulder can rotate open just slightly. And then with the breath, we'll come down on the exhalation. Extend opposite arm and leg on the inhale. Lower on the exhale, taking these at your own pace. And this movement is about finding length between the hand and foot while stabilizing your spine and keeping your head in a really neutral position. A little bit of balance and excellent core work. This is one of the #1 exercises, in my opinion, for strengthening through the spine as well. So if you have any low back issues, especially SI joint issues, you want to do spinal balance pretty much every day, focusing on leveling off that pelvis. Let's take 1 more, extend it out, and come back to all fours. Now reach your fingertips out a little further in front of you, push back to an extended child's pose. Forehead comes down to the mat, armpits open, shoulder blades spread apart from one another. And then on an inhale, draw yourself forward to kneeling plank. So the belly comes down, spine is in neutral. Exhale, press back to child's pose. So we're starting to warm up through our knees and our hips, and a little bit through the shoulders and the wrists. 2 more repetitions, inhaling to kneeling plank, exhaling to child's pose. 1 more. And pressing back. Now we'll add just a little bit of a back bend if you feel okay with that. So we'll inhale forward to kneeling plank, and then let the belly drop and the chin glide forward. exhale back into your child's pose. Inhale forward. This is a kneeling up dog for spinal extension. Exhale, press back. Now, if that bothers your low back, just come to a neutral spine without that spinal extension. One more time, glide forward. Drop those hips any amount and let's hold. And try not to let your shoulders come up to the ears. We're really pressing up out of the hands, lengthening through the neck. One more breath. And then pressing back to your child's pose. Now, if you need a little break for your wrists, you can circle them around a couple times each direction or stretch them the opposite way from that wrist flexion as we prepare to come up into downward facing dog. So as you rise up, find that good Hasta Bandha, tuck your toes, lift your hips up nice and high, and press your heels downward into the mat. Now let's just slowly pedal out the feet. So bend one knee, pressing the opposite heel, and then switch. And on the foot that's bending, I want you to stretch the bones of your toes. So when you bend your knee, put some pressure right into that first knuckle of your toes, just a little bit, and feel a nice stretch there. On the leg that's straightening, we press the heel down into the mat, creating length in the calves. One more each side. And then raise all the way up onto the bones of both feet. And then evenly press both heels down into the mat. Push away from your hands. Beautiful down dog. Softening the knees if your hamstrings are tight. Sitting bones lifting up to the sky. One more breath. And then as you exhale, drop the knees back down, taking a child's pose. This time we'll sweep the hands next to the sides of the body to roll the shoulders forward. I've got to put my visor down to the mat instead of my forehead. Couple more breaths here. And then reach back out, fingertips towards the top of the mat. We'll prepare to come into a basic sun salutation A. So tucking the toes, lift the hips up, and then take your time to walk your feet up towards the top of your mat into forward bend. And for a moment, let's just grab opposite elbows and hang in ragdoll pose. Let your head relax. You can move it side to side, up and down. Just let any tension melt away from your neck. Feet can be tight together or hips distance apart. So the first part of our sun salutation is forward bend. So we'll begin to sweep the arms out and up as we come into a reverse swan dive, extending through the fingertips. Then exhale back down into forward bend. And we'll just move between these two movements several times with the breath. Reach and extend, and exhale down. Now you can reach up to neutral spine, or you can add a little baby back bend, keeping the core engaged. Squeeze the glutes slightly, extending all the way up through the front of the spine. Two more. Inhale and exhale. One more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Our second part of our sun salutation is the half lift. Ardha, which means half. Uttanasana, forward fold. So we'll inhale to half lift. Nice flat back. The fingertips come to the shins. Exhale and fold back down as deeply as you feel comfortable. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, lower. Just one more time. And then we'll place that movement all together. Inhale, circle sweep the arms out and up. Upward salute. Exhale, swan dive, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Two more times with that sequence. Breathe in, stretch up. Nice flat back as you extend, forward bend, halfway lift, soft bend in the knees, and fold. One more time, sweep it all the way up. Exhale all the way down, nice deep forward bend. Inhale halfway, exhale and fold. Now we can walk our feet back as many steps as you need, come into plank. Hold it nice and solid. And our planks can always be done from the toes or from the knees. So we'll hold that really nice neutral alignment, 3 breaths. If you ever need a break, you can take a child's pose here in place of your plank. And then let's move through a chaturanga. So either knees or toes, keep your elbows close to your body as you lower your belly all the way down to the mat. Now let's take a baby cobra first. So really extend the spine long through the crown of the head. You're not using your hands too much to press yourself up, just strengthening the back muscles by lifting the chest up off the ground any amount. And your legs are super active, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. And then lower back down. Press yourself back up to your plank from the knees or toes, then lift the hips up into down dog. Holding 3 breaths, pressing those heels, lifting the sitting bones. And then making our way back to forward bend, you can walk or jump your feet back up to the front of the mat, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, extend through the fingertips. Exhale, swan dive back down into your forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and we'll walk back to our plank again, or take a little jump back to a nice, strong, solid plank. From the knees or toes, chaturanga dandasana, lowering down, squeeze your elbows close to the midline. Extend either into your baby cobra or all the way up into upward facing dog on the tops of the feet. Nice long spine, shoulders are down. And then pressing back to downward dog, or taking a child's pose for a breath or two if you need a little breather. Dropping those heels, the feet are hips distance apart and parallel. And then either walking or take a little jump to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up, extend. Let's take one more sun salutation. Exhale, swan dive down into forward bend. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold, step or jump back to plank, strong and solid. Lowering down, chaturanga. Extending into cobra or upward facing dog. Beautiful alignment of the spine. Exhale back into your down dog. Just holding one breath, this time dropping those heels. Then when you're ready, walk or jump feet back up to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up, holding in that upward salute. Press the palms of your hands to the heart. And hold and breathe. Maybe close your eyes, check in, see how your body's feeling after that vigorous sequence of poses. And then facing towards the camera, I want you to step 1 foot back, doesn't matter which one it is, so that you can open wide into a wide leg position. So we'll work some standing strength for our legs here. So we'll take the leg that's facing me to this side of the camera, turn it out into warrior 2. So for me, that's my left, but I'm going to call it out as right. You can just choose whichever one you want to start with. Extend through the fingertips and gaze over and breathe. And then check to make sure your shoulders are directly over your hips and a nice neutral spine here. So tuck the tailbone under slightly so that we're not leaning back or forward. And feel this knee aligning directly over the ankle. And then we'll move from Warrior Two into side angle pose, breathing in as you shift the forearm down to the thigh and extend through the fingertips, and breathe out to come back up to your Warrior Two. So we're focusing on that lateral side bending of the spine and stabilizing through our legs, which are really strong and solid, rooting our feet down into the earth, and following the breath one more time. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, Warrior Two. Now, if we side bend the opposite way, we come into reverse warrior. The palm flips up, the fingertips float down the thigh or behind the back, and then exhale back to that Warrior Two. Breathe in, side angle or side bending into reverse warrior. Breathe out into Warrior Two. A little bit of balance here as we're shifting our body weight and stabilizing into the feet. One more time. Inhale and exhale. So if we leave out our Warrior Two, we can go back and forth between side angle on the inhale, reverse warrior on the exhale. So not stopping in the middle, but just flowing from one side to the other. Two more. And one more time. And coming up. Then back to your Warrior Two. So facing towards the center, your torso is aligned forward. Keep this knee pressing open. And we'll take the hand that with the bent knee and bring it across the front of the body and pull it in for a stretch here for the shoulder. Now you can also wrap the other arm underneath and take an eagle pose, bringing the arms across towards the back leg, and then your head looks towards the front knee. A nice upper back and shoulder release. Hold and breathe. Maybe sink a little deeper into the legs. Feel the work in those thighs. One more breath. Then bringing the head back to neutral, the shoulders, and unwrap the arms. Take a nice big breath in. Gaze up. Then straighten out your front leg, and we'll shift into triangle. The hands reach out, fingertips towards that front toe. Let the hand drop down to your shin or to a block or to your mat. Top arm can reach up. You can bring it behind your back. You can reach it out towards the ear, wherever you'd like to hold this pose. Two more breaths. One more breath. Then soften that front knee, rise back up to your Warrior Two one last time. And then relax the hands down. They can come to the hips if you'd like as we switch legs. So we'll pivot in with that foot, pivot out with the other, and find your Warrior Two here. So take your time to set it up. We have a really long stride, so when you reach your fingertips out, the distance between your feet should be about the same as the distance between your hands. So maybe lengthen that stride a little bit. And then we'll inhale to side angle pose. Exhale just back up to Warrior Two, resetting that alignment, looking over the fingers. And breathe in. And breathe out. Two more repetitions. Maybe taking it a little bit deeper each time if that feels okay for your body. And one more. Coming up, reset. The palm rotates up as we inhale into reverse warrior. Exhaling to Warrior Two. Now notice that from the belly button down, nothing moves here. You're really rock solid from the pelvis into the legs. as if your feet are drawn to the earth by a strong magnet. One more time, breathe in and breathe out. Now, connecting the movements together, breathe into side angle. Breathe out all the way over to reverse warrior. And let the movement of your body follow the movement of your breath, slowing that breathing down. 2 more repetitions. And 1 more. Then resetting in that warrior 2, extending through the fingertips. Then turn your torso to the middle. The hand at the bent knee is going to come across your body, and you can hug it in with your hand, or you can bring that opposite arm underneath, wrap into eagle. So your elbows go towards the back leg, your chin goes over the front shoulder, and we sink into that front knee just a little bit more as we hold this stretch for the upper back, for the deltoids, engaging the core. 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Then align your head back to the middle, your shoulders and elbows as well, opening out back to your last warrior 2 here. Then inhale, reach the arms up high, straighten out this front leg. Exhale into triangle. The fingertips reach forward. We elongate the spine. Hands come down to the shin or to your block, to the mat. And tuck your tailbone under a little bit so you're not sticking your rear out. It should feel like there's a wall behind your back. And your hips are touching it, the backs of your shoulder blades are touching it, the back of your head is touching. And 2 more breaths. Then to rise back up, soften this front knee, come back up to your last warrior 2. And straighten both legs. Turn both toes forward in so they're parallel to the front and back edges of your mat. Take a nice big inhale up. Exhale, swan dive into wide-legged forward bend. Coming all the way down as deeply as you feel comfortable. If your hamstrings are tight, your hands can come to a block. Or we can bring the elbows down, or even the tip of your head can touch the floor if you're pretty flexible here with this stretch. For tight hamstrings, bending your knees any amount. For lengthened hamstrings, straightening out the legs but not locking those knees. And 2 more breaths. Let your head relax. 1 more breath. And then we'll slowly walk the feet in a little bit more. Hands to the hips, roll your spine up 1 vertebra at a time. Finish with a nice big inhale. Palms press and exhale. All right, we'll move into balance pose. So bringing the feet together for tree. Lost my visor. Okay, ladies, it's hard to balance on the grass. Good idea, Fern. She found a paver to stand on. Okay, so let's root into the right foot. Stand super tall, spread your toes a little bit, slightly grip, press palms at the heart, and then we'll rotate the left knee out. Now you can always keep the big toe to touch the earth, or we can bring the foot to the ankle, or slide it up to the shin, or maybe to the inner thigh, and hold our tree pose. Then make this pose your own, so you can take the arms, extending them up. You can sway the branches of your tree. You can turn your head one direction or another to challenge your balance. And if you can, holding about another 20 seconds here in this pose. So feel all those little subtle movements in your supporting foot. If you fall out of the pose, come back in with concentration and awareness on length of your spine and the breath. One more breath in. And bring that knee back to the center and relax the foot down. Sometimes that standing leg needs a little shake out, so those muscles can really fire and feel a little burn. So let's ground into the left foot. Spread the toes a little bit, slightly grip with the toes, pick up the right knee, rotate it out, and find that place for you today that you can balance. At home, if you need to place your hand on a wall to give yourself a little bit of assistance, that's okay. It's not a crutch, it's a progression. So it's enabling you to do this pose today and to focus on alignment and breathe. Maybe changing those arm positions. It's really difficult to take your chin up and the gaze high, so maybe trying that as well. Holding about another 15 seconds. And really find this engagement of the core. Find the breath. Last inhalation. Exhale, bring the knee back to the front and release the feet down and shake out those legs a little bit. One more balance pose. This is standing pigeon. So we'll shift our energy back into the right foot, spreading those toes. We'll pick up the left knee, flex the foot, and bring the ankle across. Now for you, if you want to stay just upright today, that's okay. It's similar to tree. Or we'll start to bend both knees like we're sitting back into chair pose. The chest comes forward any amount as we feel that stretch in the outside of the left glute. Front knee bends pretty deeply. This is difficult outside with sunscreen and sweaty legs. I think I'm using my inner thighs more than I usually do. Let's take 2 more breaths here in our standing pigeon. And then take your time to slowly come back up, uncrossing the ankle, returning, and give those legs a little shake out. Whew, I'm feeling these today. Maybe it's the heat. All right, ground into that left leg, pick up the right knee, flex the ankle, bring it across, and take your time to sink down any amount. Now your hands don't have to stay at heart center. You can reach them out. Sometimes they're nice to use for balance tools. So you can move your arms to help you balance. Sinking a little deeper, fire your core. Maybe take the chest forward a little bit more to deepen the stretch in the hip. 2 more breaths. And then pressing down into that leg, slowly coming up and releasing back to mountain. Okay, Joyce Birdie, you asked for core today. So we're going to work on the abdominals a little bit with 3-legged dog to plank with elbow across to the knee. Now know that this can be done from your knees as well. So I'm going to give you those options if you have any wrist issues. So let's face the top of your mat again. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. And then walk your feet back into down dog. So our first option for this pose, we'll lift the right leg, send it up into 3-legged dog, and then we shift to plank and bring the right knee across to the left elbow, and we can look that direction. Then we shoot the leg back up and exhale across. So keep going if this one feels great for you. If you want to come to your knees, same thing, we extend this leg up, and then we bring the knee in round the back, and you can slightly bring the knee across the midline. Extending the leg up so it's more similar to cat and cow or spinal balance. So your choice of movements, let's do 2 more repetitions. And 1 more. Now reach that leg all the way up nice and high. Take a stretch. Same thing from your hands and knees as well. And then exhale, lower down. If you need a break for your wrists, you can take it, or we'll go right into the other side. Left leg lifts up. Exhale to plank. Knee comes across to the elbow. We'll look that direction. And extend it up. Know that you have your kneeling option, which is still wonderful for the core. Nice big breath. Hollow out the belly as you bring that elbow across to the knee. And 2 more. And 1 more time here. Then extend that leg up, 3-legged dog, or taking a break in child's pose. And then lower the leg down, drop your knees to the mat, and rest in child's. So that's our first exercise for core. Next exercise is we're going to come into Navasana, or boat pose. If you have a hard surface at home, you might like to have a little cushion to sit on. So we'll adjust our body to a seated position. Now with boat, there's so many options we can make this successful. So we'll bend the knees, feet are flat, nice neutral spine, tip your body back until you feel the core working here, and we can stay this way. Or we can pick one foot up off the floor and then try the other. Or we can let both feet come off the floor, knees can be bent, legs can straighten, and the arms can move. They can lift or open, and you can add some rotation to your boat pose, moving side to side. So we've got about 30 seconds here remaining for you to make this your pose for core stabilization. And again, if feet need to come down, that's okay. I'm still feeling a lot of work in my core without lifting my feet up off the mat. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. You have 10 seconds. One more breath. And then let your feet relax down. Sit back up straight. Allow your knees to open and your upper body to fold forward into Baddha Konasana, a nice hip opener. So with Baddha Konasana, you can have the heels really close to the groin for a really tight angle of that bend of the knees, or you can walk the feet a little further and experience a different stretch. So decide what feels best for you today. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. And coming back up. We'll work on side plank. So if you turn your body sideways, bring one elbow down to the mat. And then we can do side plank with the bottom knee down on the ground. So we can extend the top leg, lift up and hold our side plank here, or we can stack our feet or stagger them with legs completely straight. Really stabilize that bottom shoulder and breathe. You can also lift that top leg if you feel strong enough to lift it up. Many options here. 10 seconds to hold our side plank. Elbows directly under the shoulders. And 1 more breath. And then exhale, release your body back down. Now before we switch sides, bend both knees, stack your feet, reach for this top ankle for a quad stretch. So we're going to pull that knee back and open up through the front of the thigh and through the hip flexor. If it's difficult for you to reach your ankle and pull back, you can take your yoga strap and bring it around the ankle so that you can hold onto that foot and gently draw it back. Now when we're stretching here through the hip flexor, if we tighten the glute muscle, we'll get more results out of the range of motion and more release from that muscle. So slightly squeeze that top glute and pull that knee back a little farther. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then release the ankle, and we'll flip the body over to the other side, swing those legs around, coming onto the opposite elbow. So let's try it first. If you can do it with the bottom knee bent and come up, that feels pretty good. Then maybe stack the feet or stagger them. And keep lifting those hips up. So try not to sag down here, but pull up with the core. Excellent, excellent. 10 more seconds holding. Maybe the top leg lifts. This pose can be done from the wrist, from the elbow, from the knee, or from the feet. 1 more breath in. And then release it down. Stack those knees, top hand reaches for the ankle, and we'll pull the heel towards the glute and then draw the knee back any amount. So this can also give us a little bit of a back bend here, which might be uncomfortable for some of you. So keep your abs in. Try not to make it all about a back bend, but make it about lengthening through the front of that top thigh and hip flexor. Also tighten this glute here. That will send a message to the hip flexor to relax and allow the stretch to happen. Excellent job. 2 more breaths here. So this is our side lying half bow pose. And then release that leg and press yourself back up to seated. Now, if you enjoy using a yoga strap for hamstring stretches, you can have that ready to go. And we'll take the right knee and bend it in, extending the left leg forward. And then if you're using the strap, we'll place it over the ball of the foot. Try to get your leg all the way straight if possible and really lengthen your spine. And then bring your body forward any amount until you feel that nice stretch down the back of the left leg. So if you don't need the strap or don't have a strap, your hands can go next to the thigh. You can reach to the foot and give yourself a little pull forward. Or sometimes we use what's called the yogi toe lock, and we take peace fingers, slide it between the big toe and the second toe. We loop the fingers around, and then we close the top of the big toe with the thumb. And then we can pull ourselves down, and you're putting equal pressure with your big toe against your fingers. So you're not pulling your toe back. You're just keeping that nice pressure there. And we'll take 2 more breaths here in that half forward fold. 1 more breath. And then coming all the way up. Same leg, we're going to tuck this bent knee kind of underneath the other leg and bend this knee. We're going to reach across with the opposite hand to pick up the foot and to extend the leg out straight. If you need your strap, that goes under the bottom of the foot and you hold it out in front of you. We're going to pull this leg across to stretch the IT band. Opposite arm reaches behind to twist. Now sometimes with this stretch we have a tendency to slump down, so really lift up through your spine, super tall. Pull that leg across, rotate your spine, turn your head as far as you can look over that shoulder. 2 more breaths. And then come back to the center, release that foot down. Let's switch sides. So hopefully the first stretch helps to assist you with the second, because once we get into this hamstring stretch here and we spend time coming over, stretching that hamstring, it gives us a little bit more success when we go into that hip stretch with the IT band. So maybe trying that yogi toe lock if you'd like, inserting the peace fingers between the big toe and second toe, placing the thumb over the top, pull yourself forward, or using your strap or holding under the bottom of the foot with both hands. And just breathe nice and easy into this stretch. Now we're also relaxing the opposite leg, getting a little bit of a hip opener. Allow that leg to feel heavy. And one more breath. And then rising up, this bent knee, we're going to tuck the foot underneath us slightly. Opposite hand reaches across to the foot. We can extend that leg up or use the yoga strap to wrap under the bottom of the foot. Bring the leg across and twist. Now check your posture. Lift, lift, lift. Extend all the way up through the crown of the head. And then turn your chin as far as you can. So feel that nice stretch through your neck. And then we breathe 2 more breaths. And we'll come out of the twist, bring the leg back to the front and relax it down. Wide leg forward fold. So extend both feet out. And sometimes you might like to use a block for this one if you have tight hamstrings. And we'll either flex our feet, point your toes, or just relax wherever you'd like to be in your legs, and walk those hands out in front of you until you feel that stretch through your inner thighs, through your hamstrings. We can use the block sometimes to place the elbows on. That'll help you to relax a little bit. Or your hands. You can also use it to relax your forehead down towards the floor. And just let go of any tension that might be remaining in your lower back, in your hamstrings, in your inner thighs, maybe even in your calf muscles, in your feet, your neck and your shoulders. And we'll take 2 more breaths. And slowly making your way back up. And then we'll close both legs together for 1 more forward bend. And we can keep the knees slightly bent or extend the legs straight. You can grab your yoga strap if you'd like to use it. Take a nice big breath in. Lead with your belly as you fold forward. We're going to do this stretch actively on the first 3 repetitions. So with the breath, inhale, come back up. Exhale, take it a little deeper. 2 more up. And extend. 1 more breath. Then find your edge and we'll hold here about 30 seconds. Breathing, sinking as deeply as you can. Boy, outside here in the sun, the muscles feel very stretchy and pliable. That heat really has an effect on lengthening the muscles. Let's take 2 more breaths, slowly and deeply, in through the nose, either out through the nose or the mouth. 1 more breath. And slowly coming back up, rolling your spine back up to neutral. And then we'll bring the hands behind the body. So I'm reaching my fingertips back. They're slightly facing away from me, opening up through the shoulders, and we'll lift the hips up away from the mat into a reverse plank. So we're working our core one more time through stabilization, stretching through the shoulders, and then lower back down to take a break. If it's too hard with both legs straight, we can bend both knees. We'll come up one more time, lifting the hips. 3 breaths. And slowly lowering back down. We'll come back to a simple cross-leg pose and have your right ankle in front of your left. Lengthen the spine nice and tall, and we'll come into a cradle the baby. So we'll pick up this right leg in front of you. You can either hold it underneath your shin, or you can hold one hand under the bottom of the foot, one hand to the knee, or some of you might be able to wrap this by bringing the elbow crease underneath the foot and around the outside of the knee. And we'll pull that leg in nice and close and sit up tall. So any of those options are great. Just hugging that knee in. We'll feel a nice stretch here through the glute. Now with cradle the baby, the reason it's called that is we start to tend to have a rocking motion, just like you're rocking a baby, from side to side. And you'll notice as you rock across, that deepens that stretch through the hip. So if you'd like, you can add that little bit of a rocking motion. And then come right back to the center. One more breath. And carefully release that leg down. Then you'll switch the cross of your ankles so your left leg is in front, and see how this feels on this side. So if you have a tighter hip or problems with your knee and you need to make this one small, you can be right in here. It's a good idea to flex your ankles. This will protect your knee from twisting. So we bring it in as closely as we can, and then we can rock it a little bit side to side. So the hips are staying still. Your hips aren't moving side to side. It's just the leg, and you can move your upper body with that a little bit from the right to the left with our cradle the baby. And you'll find a sweet spot where you go, ooh, yeah, right there. That's where I feel it. And if you want to hold it there, you can. And then we'll come back to the center. Hold one more breath. Really pull that leg in towards you. And exhale, release that leg back into cross-leg pose. We're going to fold over our legs. So take a nice inhale. Exhale, fold over and reach your fingertips out and stretch your lower back one more time through your glutes and through your hips. Keep breathing, maybe stretch a little further. And then we'll inhale to reach all the way up. Exhale to clasp the hands behind your back. And if it's hard for you to reach, that's another opportunity to use your yoga strap. You can bring it behind you and lift your arms any amount away from the back body. Open up through the shoulders. And then we'll tip the right ear towards the right shoulder as we're holding that stretch. And tip the left ear to left shoulder. Come back to center and then drop the chin straight down. Lift your arms a little higher if you can. One more breath. Bring the head back to neutral. Release the clasp of your hands or the yoga strap. And we'll place the palms at heart center. Closing the eyes, we'll spend just a few breaths in quiet meditation to close our practice today. And maybe take a moment just to call to mind something or someone you are especially grateful for today in your life. And we'll bring the thumbs up to the forehead, the third eye center, that area of wisdom and knowledge, for positive thoughts for the remainder of our day. The thumbs come to the lips for positive words from our mouth to ourselves and to those around us, and to the heart for positive actions in all that we do. And the light and joy and peace that resides within me honors the light and joy and peace in each of you. Namaste. All right. Thank you so much for joining me online. It's really, thanks for joining me in person. Some of these ladies are going to go for a swim, so I'm going to shut the recording off for a second. And I have another device in my house where I'll be able to say hello to all of you because it's really hard to see out here in the sun. So I'm going to come in the house for a second and say hello.